Now it's time to talk about the new Galaxy S25 Plus. This phone, if you haven't already know, it looks basically identical to the S24 Plus that I've been using for the past year, but there are quite a few changes under the hood, particularly changing from the Exynos 2400 to the Snapdragon 8 Elite. The question is, how much of a difference does it actually make? In today's video, we're going to review the S25 Plus and also have a bit of comparison with the S24 Plus using the Exynos 2400. Remember to like and subscribe, and let's get started with the review. Now, looking at the phone, well, like what we mentioned earlier, the S25 Plus is literally looks the same, feels the same, and weighs about the same as well. There are new colors, and I do think that they look great, and I do think that particularly the grey color that we have here, which is very reflective and also changes color depending on how the light hits it, and also the mint, navy, and especially the coral red colors all look great as well. And I really do hope that some of these colors will come to the Ultra as well, but for another time, I guess. The only other change is the camera rings, which is now slightly larger than before, and the black ring is now stuck onto the camera lenses. Now, when we do take a look at the front of the phone, the S25 Plus also looks basically identical to the S24 Plus, and that's because they kinda are. The same screen size, same resolution, and also same refresh rate as well. Looking at our data and comparing it with the S24 Plus though, the new S25 Plus display yields basically the same maximum brightness of around 13-14 nits brightness as well, but the color accuracy is gonna be the same story as the S25 Ultra. You see, the new S25 Plus seems to have a slight reduction of DCI-P3 color gamut across the board, but they also have improved delta E numbers for all vividness levels as well. With a slightly lower DCI-P3 color gamut coverage means that the colors will not look as vivid as before, but only by a slight bit since the reduction is pretty minimal here. Either way, this is a great display as it still looks very sleek from the front and the bezels are still very small. I really do wish that the S25 Plus have the anti-reflective screen as the S25 Ultra as well. That would have been really nice for this phone. The performance side of things is going to be interesting here since Samsung decided to change from the Exynos to the Snapdragon for Galaxy this time. As shown in our gaming test, the Galaxy S25 Plus performs basically the same as the Ultra despite having a smaller cooling system. I honestly don't think that the cooling system here is a bottleneck since the Snapdragon 8 Elite's GPU is constantly packed at 100% in games like Zone Zero at this render resolution at the highest graphical settings. While it is indeed better than the Exynos 2400, the performance gap here I think is to be expected for a generational leap in terms of technology. Again, do hit that subscribe button as we're gonna have another video talking about the current state of chipsets. But we have to talk about the battery life of the Galaxy S25 Plus. It is still using a 4900 mAh battery, the same one as the S24 Plus, and using our standardized battery life test, the new S25 Plus can last about 15 hours and 9 minutes in 1440p mode and 16 hours, 1 minute in 1080p mode. If we compare this data with the S24 Plus that is using the Exynos 2400, then it basically lasts about 1 to 1.5 hours longer. But if we normalize the data and then change it into percentage, the difference is not really that drastic. In 1440p mode, it is nearly 10% better, and at 1080p mode, it is only 7.18% more efficient. This is nowhere near whatever percentage Qualcomm threw around on their website. As for the charging speed, it is the same as before too. 45 watts is what Samsung claims on their website, and from our test though, it can only take in 41 watts at most. It takes around 64 minutes to charge from 15% to completion, and the charging speed is indeed thermal throttle. You see, the red line here is the temperature and corresponds to the right side y-axis, and we can see that the thermal limit is somewhere around 40.5 degrees Celsius when it is charging. When it hits that temperature, the charging speed slows down, and then the battery cools down a bit, and then it ramps up the charging speed again, and this cycle repeats to somewhere around 75% charge, and then it will gradually slow down the charging and complete the cycle. Now the software, One UI 7 is a very big change compared to what we had before, but I think we will have to talk about it in another video. The Now Brief is something that I find it to be very useful, but it's rather difficult for me to show you its full potential now because I only use this phone for testing purposes. We will talk about One UI 7 with all of the features in an upcoming video, so do subscribe for that as well. Just know that even with a UI redesign, the features that I care about the most, Samsung Wallet, Moods and Routines, and the newly upgraded Edge panel are still here. Alright, time for the cameras. The camera hardware is basically the exact same as the S24 Plus. However, since the chipset has changed, the image signal processor, ISP, has changed as well. Here are some quick shots taken with the S25 Plus. Daylight shots are obviously not a problem, and it definitely struggles in night shots. I do have to say, the cameras are really consistent in terms of colors and clarity. However, I think it's only fair if we directly compare it with the S24 Plus. First off, this tree. I really do like the S24 Plus's image here because the three colors are definitely correct. Then now we have the golden cock. They look very similar to each other, but I do think that the S25 Plus looks a bit better with the color saturation, especially for the main camera. However, the telephoto camera definitely looks indiscernible between the two. Indoor mode shots has a bit of a difference in color, but I don't have a preference for either. As for this statue, I do think that the ultra-wide looks better on the S24 Plus, the main camera looks better on the S25 Plus, and the telephoto looks better on the S24 Plus. And that is all the photos that I took with these two phones because I was super sick. Actually, I still am sick right now, but I do think these two phones' cameras are kind of like a toss-up. There's no real winner between the two. Now, the videography between these two phones, they can both take 8K 30fps or 4K 60fps. And yuck, the S25 Plus looks absolutely disgusting here because the S25 Plus is actually filming in HDR. If we converted it back to SDR, now it does look a lot better. Once more, the grass color looks very different between the two, but the S24 Plus is more realistic. Otherwise, the stabilization, colors, clarity, they both look good on both of these phones. Do remember that the S25 Plus can also capture videos in Samsung Log, and we will talk about that in a future video. And back to the S25 Plus for a while, it still uses a USB 3 port at the bottom, still has Samsung DeX with display output via USB-C port, and for our region, we have dual SIM card slot. So at the end of the review and also a bit of a comparison with the S24 Plus, should you actually buy this new S25 Plus? Well, I do think that I'm in quite a unique position here because I was using the Exynos 2400 for the past year. And I do think that while it is just not really worth upgrading if you're using the S24 Plus, even with the Exynos version, because I just think that the improvement, it is definitely there, but it's just not big of an improvement enough to justify getting a new phone. However, if you are coming from the S23 Plus or older, then yes, the upgrade is worth your money. Remember, the S24 Plus is the generation that got a redesign with a larger battery, better screen, tinier bezels, and also a high 1440p resolution screen. And that is all that we have to share with you here in today's video about the S25 Plus. And yeah, do let me know what do you think about this phone, and what do you think about the comparison with the Exynos 2400 S24 Plus as well. Because I do think that this phone, it got a lot of unnecessary hate, even though Exynos is actually performing real well. And the new Snapdragon 8 Elite in the S25 Plus, it improves even more. But if you're coming from this phone, then I think that the price of getting a new phone is not really that justified. So yeah, let me know all of your thoughts down in the comment section below. Remember to like and subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next video.